This is the entertainment roundup for the last week of February 2014. I got a lot of stories that I want to talk about, so let's get right straight to it. First of all, let me just quickly acknowledge the passing of one of my favorite Ghostbusters, Egon Spangler, played by now the late Harold Ramis. He passed away a few days ago at the age of 69. He has been a very strong influence in the comedic side of Hollywood, have given a lot of stars their big break. He have pretty much kept Bill Murray in work in terms of the comedic side, and has been a strong influence in films such as the Ghostbusters films, of course, but also in Caddyshack, Groundhog's Day, The National Lampoon's Vacation, Meatballs. He has done very, very well, both on screen and off screen. And his passing was definitely felt around Hollywood, especially those who have worked with him very close. Bill Murray, of course, is one who uh, who felt it the most. He has actually have worked side by side with him for a very long time. Has starred in his movies as well, and needless to say that other actors such as Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd have also have voiced their saddened to hear the passing of one of their great colleagues. Um, a lot of stories have already been surfacing within the last few days, and particularly with the Ghostbusters 3 story, which to me, in my own opinion, I think it's already been dead for a long time. And people's asking what would that hold for Ghostbusters 3. Well, personally, I don't think it's going to happen. But to me, it's just, unless you're going to reboot the series, there's really no need now to make a Ghostbusters 3, especially since you have lost a very important component of the film. But that's a story for another time. To me, Hollywood is going to is at mourning right now, and again, as always, my condolences to the families. I am curious. There's been rumors rumbling about the Academy Award and how they're going to honor him. I'm curious on how they're going to do it. Um, but for me, I think they're going to do it the same way I always do when one of their stars have passed on. So again, Harold Ramis, dead at the age of 69. Let's move right along here because we do have a lot of things to cover. Um, I'm going to address the NFL because I got two stories that's going to be wrapped into this. It has been announced that the NFL is looking to make a policy now on the use of the N-word on the field. According to this article, and according to also NFL.com, if an NFL player is caught using the N-word, he can get a 15-yard penalty. Um, this is something that a lot of groups, activist groups, have been encouraging the team to do. They even said that they are hoping to abolish it completely from anywhere that sports is involved. This I'm going to keep an eye on. I'm going to hold my actual opinion on this because a lot of players are not too very thrilled about it because to them they felt that they're in the heat of the moment. Um, Trash talking may come about this, and they may not be saying it directly towards the person that they know would be offensive, but may say it to their teammates and their partners, and they don't take it too lightly. The problem is that that word have gotten a player into so much trouble, and to be fair with the NFL, they don't want to have that word be used in any way that can bring them into the bad light. So that's one of the main things that is going to be something that the NFL is very sensitive of. And it's all, I'm going to read part of the article. It says, I think they are going to do what needs to be done here. He said, there is too much disrespect in the game. Retired Giant star Harry Carson, who is now an executive director for Visa Polo Alliance, told the Daily News that the rule allows officials to penalize players for using the N-word is already in place. So in other words, he's not very feeling about it. The word is considered unsportsmanlike conduct. Another player said, I think there is going to be a higher emphasis placed on it. Carson said again, adding that this group meets with the league officials last season to discuss the use of actors. Um, this is going to be very interesting to see how this works. There are some players and some fans that felt that this is absurd, but again, the NFL is looking at the image. It's not very good in terms of certain things that goes on the field and even in the locker room. They're still reeling from Incognito's bullying, and to me, it's just something that they're gonna be taking very serious from here on out. Which brings me to my other article is involving the NFL, and that is the Super Bowl. Now, this is something very important here. As you all know, what's going on with Arizona. Arizona passed a law that pretty much uh, basically said in words that businesses, big or small, can deny services to anyone based on religious faith. It's clear that it's targeted amongst the gay community. And basically, the law says if your faith feels that you shouldn't serve someone because of their own lifestyle and because it affects your religious belief, you can do it without worrying about getting sued. This is a law that has been controversial. People are protesting as we speak. Even some members of Congress, Democrat and Republican, has voiced their concerns as well. Arizona is supposed to be hosting the Super Bowl next year. And the chances are, if this thing stays in effect, if the governor signs this into law, there could be a possibility that the NFL may pull the Super Bowl out of Arizona. And I'm going to read the article where it is. I'm going to leave a link to this article, but it's very interesting, and I am kind of curious of what the NFL plan to do here. It says Arizona state lawmakers have thrust the Super Bowl, which is titled XLIX, into the center of controversy, even though the game set to play in Girdale, Arizona, is still a year away. Last week, the state legislation passed the Senate Bill 1062, which will allow businesses to refuse service to same-sex couples on a grounds of religious freedom. The bill now is in the hands of Governor Jane Brewer, who has not indicated whether she will sign it into law. But if she does, a point of the legislation, opponent of the legislation, including members of the business community, have warned that it may jeopardize Arizona's hosting the successful 2015 Super Bowl and any Super Bowl at all. Last week, Greater Phoenix Economy Council President Barry Broom sent Brewer a letter warning, with major events approaching in the coming year, including the Super Bowl, Arizona will be the center of a world stage. This legislation has the potential to subjecting the Super Bowl and major events around the world to a threat of boycott. The article also says that the Delaware Governor Jack Mackel said it wouldn't be surprised if the NFL looks to move the Super Bowl if Brewer signed the bill. If that happens, it would be the first time the state wants the Super Bowl due to bigotry. The article continues saying Arizona is supposed to host the 1993 Super Bowl in Temp, just outside of Phoenix. But in 1990, the NFL began worrying that the state had refusal to recognize Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a state holiday, a failure that may have led to uncomfortable boycott and demonstrations. So this isn't the first time that Arizona put their foot in their mouth in situations like this. Arizona, the Super Bowl ended up being played in California. So keep that in mind. Arizona voted finally to approve Martin Luther King Day as a holiday on November 1982. The following March, the NFL approved Temp to host the Super Bowl in 1996. So far, however, the NFL hasn't commented on it yet. When asked, the NFL spokesman, he told the Huffington Post, "Our policy euphemizes tolerance uh, and prohibits discrimination based on age, gender, race, religion, sexual orientation, or any other improper standards. We are following the issue in Arizona and will continue to do so should the bill be signed, but will decline further comment at this time." I will leave a link below to the article so you guys can check it out yourself. It's a very interesting situation that's going on here, but there's no question that the NFL is looking at this. The NFL knows that this is happening, and if they do sign it, there is a possibility the NFL may say, "Hey, look, we want no parts of this. We are a very diverse organization, and the last thing we need is this kind of pressure." Um, I already expressed my disgust for this bill in my political channel. I'm gonna say this again. This is the worst bill I've ever seen. It's pretty much going back to segregation and beyond. And I hope that the governor, who is Republican, comes to his senses, realizes how bad and how pretty much unnecessary this bill is. There should be no reason why someone discriminate anyone. I don't care what religious freedom you think you have. It doesn't give you the right to discriminate anyone on that grounds. You dare to do a service. That's services, and your religious thing should be completely separate unless you're a church, which in this case you not. I don't think that many people will even question about where your stance are. There should be no reason for that at all. Let's continue on. There's a lawsuit in the American Idol's campfire. The American Idol lawsuit claims that Sony Music was withholding millions in royalties. Now, this is from the Huffington Post. This was written by April Sperry, and it pretty much says, in short, "It has been a bad few weeks for U.S. singers, for U.S. singing shows. First, the X Factor was canceled due to low ratings. Then Chilo Green announced he would be leaving The Voice. Now, Sony Music is being sued for allegedly withholding millions of dollars in royalties from American contestants and winners, 19 recordings, and 19 recordings. Sorry, the record label that was founded by American Idol creator Simon Fuller and is now owned by the show's parent company, Cole Media Group, represents many of the show's contestants and winners, including Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, and Jonas Sparks. The label and its extensions, its clients, claims that Sony Music has stolen millions of dollars worth of royalties and has breached record agreements. The lawsuit was filed after 19 recording audited Sony's books. Sorry, 19, yeah. The two companies unsuccessfully attempts to reach a private agreement before 19 recording filed the lawsuit. We did not want to have to file this lawsuit. We did not want to have to file this lawsuit, but Sony let us no choice. So this becomes necessary to protect our artists," said Jason Mora, the worldwide head of music at 19 Entertainment. The label is seeking at least $10 million in damages, claiming that Sony has paid incorrect amount related to digital streaming, royalty music videos, compiling albums and other products, and has even improperly deducted foreign income tax. This is yeah. This is one of those things that that sounded very, very shady. But again, when you have stars who are coming up, or seeing the big light, they often forget to look at the legal picture. And it looks like, from what I'm reading so far, it looked like Sony took advantage of that. And who knows? Sony has a lot of other things on their plate that they have to deal with, but who knows? Uh, Maybe there's two sides of the story. I'm only getting one side. But this is not shocking. I said this before, I say it again. The music business is a dirty business. Entertainment in general is a dirty business, and you have to make sure, not just for your own sake, but for your sake of your own financial being, you have to make sure you stay on top of your game when it comes to people like this. Keep in mind, these guys will try everything to nickel and dime you. And it looks like they tried it here. Only the guys, the people who are clients of this company that's representing them, look like they caught on to it, and now they're looking to seek damages. Um, Obviously, Sony did not want to go to court because, according to this article, they want to settle out of court in private. But knowing them, they probably was going to give an amount that was only satisfied for them and not the right amount that they deserve, and they was gypped out of it. Again, I'll keep an eye on this one, but to me, this is a classic case of making of people taking advantage just because they're young talents. And when it comes to this kind of business, nothing's out of bounds. I got some interesting news for those who used to use the services. And to be honest with you, I was surprised it was still in business. I really was. But AOL is announced they're shutting down the movie phone, which thought it was already gone. Now, in case you haven't lived in New York, or those who don't know about the movie phone out of state, the movie phone was pretty much, you dial the phone number, which is 777 Films, and they give you a listing of movies as well as listing of areas and time that the movie is being played. Now, this started, I believe, it's been 25 years. I believe it's in the 90s, early 90s. But this was a very big thing. This was around before AOL was around, so this has been a big, big part of the service. But as you know, our information have changed. So with the online superhighway, phones, which we can text information on phones, we can Google up what nearest theater plays our movies. This has become completely obsolete, and it doesn't surprise me that they decided to just do away with it. The article pretty much says, it was written again, I believe, by the Huffington Post, again by Todd Springer. After 25 years providing showtimes and ticks over the phone, movie phone will soon no longer be taking calls. This was the slogan that I remember well. Hello and welcome to Movie Phone. The 777 film number will no longer be in service in the near future. Say the current recording of the number. Callers are directed to download Movie Phone app from their iPhone and iPad. There you go. Again, there's no need to call them when you have other ways of finding information. Movie Phone was founded in 1989 as a dial-up service for checking movie times. The service Simply Sound Announcer was famous parodied in the episode Seinfeld. Kramer impersonated the movie phone after he stated receiving misdirect calls in his apartment, and after failing to determine one caller touch tone selection, he blurted out, "Why don't you just tell me the name of the movie you like to select?" LL acquired Movie Phone in 1999 for $388 million in stock. Why? The movie to discontinued the move to discontinue 777 Film comes after AOL struck a deal with Berman Brewers last fall, under which Movie Phone is to be overhauled as a border destination for entertainment, news, and contacts with this new design. The 777 line was to be shut off sometimes in this spring. According to the source familiar with the station, An AOL research for comments declined to confirm which phone line will be officially terminated. For now, the number is still active. Moviefone has operated as a toll-free 800-777 film nationwide, as well as 67 local area codes, which across the U.S. Now, ours was 718, so it was 718-777 films, and then they actually just took that off and made it a 800 number altogether. In 2012, AOL struck a deal with Comcast on uh, Faningo, making Faningo the executive movie ticket partner for Moviefone. Previously, Moviefone has sold tickets through movietickets.com. I'll leave the link below, but this is actually, again, I was surprised it was still there, because I never used to call them. I never used to call them after like 1998. I didn't see the need to. But yeah, this is kind of a little bit of history. This was a major thing back in the 90s. It was a very, very major thing, and it was actually helpful because a lot of movies that you knew was out didn't know what date it was, especially for art house movies. This was a very big tool for them because they didn't have the money to actually put an ad on the papers, and the movies that they did play was like movie theaters that no one actually looked for. Take for instance, nobody knows in New York where short films are being played, and there are a couple of theaters that play short films. There's also places where we have a dozen art house films, but you really gotta look. You really gotta really look carefully, and that's why you have papers like the Village Voice and others who is dedicated into those art films, because that's the only way you're really gonna find out about it. And Moviefone was one of those big chargers to actually let you know exactly where these art house movies are. Now we have the online, so the internet have changed that a little bit. You can look it up, find out what movie it is, and they will tell you exactly where they are. And again, I was kind of surprised that Moviefone was still around. I really was. But obviously, people still needed to use it. People still needed to have it, and that's exactly why we still have it today. At least until the spring. Okay, might as well go to the next one, last one for this rendition. And by the way, I will be breaking this up into two parts, but I have so much articles here. I didn't want to make this into a 1 hour and a half podcast. But I want to get to this one before I shut this one down. The Nets have signed a player to become the first openly gay player. This was actually done. This is an article that has been done a few days ago. I want to get to it real quick. When he walked into the court, Collins became the first openly gay athletic to play in one of the United States' 4 major professional sports leagues. He understood the significance attached to his appearance in the NBA game, but he had a job to do. I feel like I've done this 1,000 times before, Collins said. After the Brooklyn's 108-102 victory against the Los Angeles Lakers. This was played on Sunday night. You go to the soccer table, scores table. You hear what they play, what the play is going to be, and for the next offensive play, you go out there. Once you're out there, the court, it's about basketball. It's about what have been doing for almost 3 decades. This is a good article, and again, this is also one of the major athletes who is coming forward and coming out as openly gay in the major sports. And while Charles Barkley, I know he mentioned something about this, is not as big a deal as many people is making it out to be. I sort of disagree for a lot of things. I said this before in my last video of this, and I'm going to say it again. Being an athlete in the major sports, it is a little bit, it's a little bit more pressure than an actor or singer is, because in that kind of sport, you have to deal with physical contact. And keep in mind, as we just seen in Arizona, there's still people with a lot of bigotry, a lot of fear of what they don't understand. All right, and one of the major issues, especially from athletes who kept this stuff in the closet throughout their whole careers playing sports, is they was afraid to come out because of how they would be treated in the locker room. Keep in mind, you're changing clothes, uh, you're using the same shower, and that plays into a lot of people homophobics when dealing with this type of thing. And so, hearing him come out in the open, doing what he does best, is a very to me, it says a lot about his character, but it also says a lot about the team in general, that things are changing. Not too long ago, I talked about a protest that was happening. In order to protect their fellow ball player, and I thought that was a great thing. So this is a giant step. This is a big step, but make no mistake about it. It's not change. It's not going to happen overnight. There are going to be some who still has that uncomfortable feeling, sharing the same locker room, or competing against someone they know who is openly gay. It's just how it is. But the important thing is they should be able to play. They shouldn't feel ashamed of what they are, and they should play just like any other person would, and should be welcome like any other person would in terms of their athleticism. Again, like Jerry Jeter have said before, it's about no one cares if you're winning. It is how it is. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave it at that. I will be back for part 2. But until then, this is J77 saying take care, be safe. I'll talk to you soon.